This is Code.org, and this is my awesome personal narrative project. Burgers are the best. I make great burgers. I'm just saying. Coming up, the pizza, red sauce. I put so much red sauce on. Patao. And I make burritos worthy of being framed. Fun facts. There's also sounds you can't hear then. But let's go ahead and walk through how to put together a personal narrative scene project thing. Let's go. And it is Personal Narrative Project Day. All right. This is a fun project, but it's also a large one. Let's dive in. All right, getting started. Import imageplus.java from our backpack, imageplus.java import. Like always, guys, if you don't see it, copy the code from here. Now, let me go ahead and hide this for a moment. Personal narrative project. Write your narrative scenes class, which they gave us, to create a collage or animation that consists of images of your personal experiences and or interests, and uses image filters and effects to change or enhance the mood of your image. Create a new image filter, create the collage. All right, I want to hit upon that we should use the project planning. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you head over to here, lesson resources and Pada. All right, hopefully you have a paper copy. Here is mine. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This tutorial is focusing on the code, but I do want to hit upon the actual brainstorming of ideas. I often have students who get intimidated by, but you know, I am not from a former super cool random country or outer space, and I've never been to Paris. What am I going to talk about? Guys, have you traveled anywhere? Have you gone to the mall with your brother lately? Do they still have malls? Is that a thing? Am I old? No, none of mine. Learn to drive, are part of band, applied to college, and that was stressful. Got a job, you own a pet. Anything really. Like, don't overthink this. You want to make it easy, just not boring, because I have to grade these. So, and other people do too. Basketball team, video games. I like favorite ones. I've seen a lot of good favorite ones, right? If you're super interested in movies or art or, I don't care, sneakers, that is something about yourself. That's a personal interest. Create a scene or scenes out of it. It's really great to see items or see projects like that. Now, I'm going to skip through all the way to the bottom because this is the rubric now. Let's talk about how we or you achieve a high score. Evidence, extensive evidence is what we want, right? That's what we want. Implement more than one algorithm using a 2D array of pixel objects from an image to create more than one new image filter. So we need multiple image filters. We need a 2D array of pixel objects. What else do we need? Create a visual animation with sound effects. That's my favorite part. I love recording the sound effects that communicate personal experiences or interests with 3 or more pictures. These 2 filters, 3 or more pictures, and sound effects. All right, let's head back over to here. Now, what did they set us up with? I'm on my narrative scene class right now, and all this is a, empty scene class that is extended from scene, or an empty class, and it's built upon the scene class, right? So we need a constructor here, and if you're a bit fuzzy on constructors, well, I already imported image plus. Let's take a look how they do it. Oh, look, and they even tell us, guys, this is what their constructor looks like. So we just need public and the name of the class. And my class name is this. I'm just going to copy Control-C, Control-V so I get it right. And then if we have any parameters. Right now I don't, so I'll leave this as is. Now, what am I going to need in this class? I already know I'm going to have images, at least 3, and sound effects. I have a few ways I could store these. For instance, I could do like string image 1, boom, string image 2. Right? That takes time. I don't really like that. It kind of looks messy to me. So instead, I'm going to do string images. And boop, 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 boom, boom. So now I know there's going to be an array of images. I'm going to do the same for sound effects. Bam. Because there will be an array of sounds. Okay? Now that looks good. And then I'm going to have these be passed. So this will contain the file names for the images and sounds. And so I'm going to do string images and I need to go back over here. And then what will I do with that? Well, I want to go ahead and use the arguments that get passed, right? These parameters, and I'm going to set the class variables, these instant variables, to whatever is passed. So this dot images, because this means, hey computer, the class's images is going to be equal to the data that's passed. This dot sounds is going to be equal to the data that's passed. Cool. All right. So in order to do that, I like testing my program frequently, and you guys should too. It's how you find errors and make your life easier. So I'm heading over to my theater. I'm going to throw some data, some text down in here, just to get us set up for testing. Actually, before I even do that though, I'm going to add my content. So I know we need images. I already went and downloaded them. I Googled burger and burrito, and well, you'll see. So I'm just going to hit upload, and yep, there they are. Cool. And now I'm going to actually record the audio files, and this is my favorite part. Burgers are good. Yay. That's the burger sound. I know, brilliant. It's pizza time. Pizza sound, also brilliant. Okay, I know, I'm predictable, but whatever. It's burrito time, which is different from pizza time. So, that was great. All right, so we got burrito, yep, sounds. We got images, hopefully. Yep, all right, I'm good to go there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bloop, race through the text. I'll put this in here and then talk about it. All right, here's what I have. Let me test it real quick. Cool. Okay, so that's running. So all I did, guys, here is food images, sound files. I used the exact names of the files that I uploaded. Make sure you do that. And then I pass them to our constructor, food images, sound files, and they'll get assigned. So cool. I have our narrative scenes set up at least. Now, what should I start with? I want to at least attempt to display those images. So I'm going to create a, probably like public void, create scene, something like this, method. And all I'm going to do here is I want to see if I can draw or show the images. Now, if you've forgotten how to do that, that's not shocking. Thankfully, we have the documentation tab, and we can go look at, scene. And here's draw text, for instance, but we need I'm just doing Control F or find the draw image, right? So that's how we do it. And you can always use this to reference, okay? So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and show my first image, which was draw image. And then the image I have in my array here. So I passed the burger first. So I'm just going to say images 0 index, and that should be the burger. And then the other two items I need are, so you need the file name. Right. It's XY, it's location, and it's size. Right? And so I need the location, which my location for my image, I'm just going to do 0 and 0. And its size, I would just do the width of the screen, I think, which I can actually do for that, get width. Cool. All right. Now, let's see if this does anything. I'm going to want to pause, right? Because if it draws it and it just blinks away, I'll pause for 2 seconds. And cool. That should either do something or break everything. Okay, so it's not, that's not doing something. Let's see what's up here. And this is why we test a lot. Oh, of course, guys, I need to call this. There we are. Let's see. Burger. Always a typo. Okay, and I wanted to stretch across, so I think I'm going to do get width and get height. Okay, so I'm actually going to have it zoom in a bit, so get width wasn't enough, so I'm going to try, 500. Almost there. I'll do 550 just to make sure it fills the screen. I'm okay stretching the image a bit. Yep, that looks good to me. Okay, so we have one image successful. Woohoo! And now we should try the other two. I'm just going to slam in a copy. Nope, actually, I'm going to leave it at 1. Let's go ahead and start working on our filters at this point. So we have an image showing, but the real issue here is that we need filters. To do that, we need to create a new file. You can name it whatever you want. The filters I plan on doing are a fade filter, a red filter, and a border creation one. I might do that in different classes, but I'm going to do all of mine in one. So I'll call mine filter image. Yeah, sure. And again, if you're doing two types of fade, I would call it fader or image fader. Make sure your class name makes sense for you. All right, it automatically puts these two, so I'll just leave them. But I need to go ahead and slam in the class signature and the constructor. Let me go ahead and get that in there and I'll talk through it. All right, so here's our constructor. Here's my class signature. I named it filter image because that's my class name. I am extending image plus, guys, because we want access to all that image plus has, right? I want to be able to save my image as a pixel object. I want to be able to zero red maybe, or zero green, keep blue. I want access to this. So I'm making sure to extend image plus. And then what I'm doing here in my constructor is I'm using super, which means what? It means, hey, go up and run, right? Super means you have something above you. And the computer goes, what? Super, smack. Oh, super. Because filtered image is built on image plus. Go run the constructor of image plus, which allows us to super file name, which actually goes up to images, but it's also going to give us the properties of the image class. So we want to make sure to pass the file name up to image plus to pass it up to the image class so we have the correct functionality. Okay, now with that set up, I need a few things. I'm going to have 3 different methods, each that perform a different function, or each that performs something else, a different type of filter. One will be a border, one will be a red blur, and one will be fading an image. They have some clear similarities. I'm going to get into the constructors for all 3 actually, and then, or the signatures for all 3, and then talk about them. Okay, so this is just the image names, the method names themselves. What's going to be useful or necessary in pretty much all methods where you're going to be filtering the image is a 2D pixel array. I name mine pixels, and then I'm just going to name it get pixels, or I'm going to call the method get pixels. Now, why am I doing this? Well, if I take a look at image plus, let's look for get pixels right here. Create a 2D array of pixel objects that contain the pixels from the image. And we want to have this done. We need this because it will give us access, documentation, to our code.org pixel, to all of these methods. We can get the color, we can set the color, we can edit and filter an image because of this object, because of this class. So we really do want to do get pixels. We're going to do that at the top of all of these because we're going to be changing the image. However, that's not the only similarity. We're also going to need nested loops. All right, so what does this do? Well, we get the row, set it equal to 0. I say row needs to be less than the length of pixels.length. Pixels.length. What's pixels.length, guys? It is a 2D array of every pixel in an image. So images are little dots of color, right? Millions of them, trillions of them. And the pixel array is going to be a row, rows of dots of color, representing the dots that create the image. And then the column, there's columns in each row, obviously, and we just kind of go through the columns. So the row is, maybe we're on row 1, or row 0 is technically the first indexed row of an image. And then the columns are each item in the row. All right, and so this will allow us to loop through. We know pixels.length, that's how many rows are in this array. Pixels row.length is how many columns are in each row. You'll also see 0 used. It's not my favorite, but since we know this array will have the same amount of rows in each, same amount of columns in each row, you could do this. I do it this way. Regardless, we're going to need this, I am certain, in all of our methods. So I'm going to do a copy and a Control V to paste, or just do it like that so you can see. Okay. So now, creating a border, do I want to start with that one? Fade image. I might actually start with our fade image method. Yep, I will. Okay, so now I have my 2 for loops. what do I want to do? In order to fade an image, you need to make it darker, right? So you want to get the color of the current pixel and make whatever color that is darker. Images on a computer consist of red, green, and blue. There's a certain amount of red, green, and blue in each pixel. Mixing those together, right, mixing the primaries together, colors together, creates the image. So I'm going to go ahead and do pixels row call, which is row call means our current pixel, so our first pixel if this is at 0, 0. And then what do I want to do? I'm going to change how much red is in my image. How do I know how much red I want it there to be? Let me actually go up here and say, it's going to be an integer, int red, I'll just call it actually. And what that will be is I'm going to again do pixels row call dot get red. So I'm getting however much red is there, plus, and then I'm not actually sure how much darker I'll make it. Ooh, I'm actually going to use a parameter int amount, I think. And then I'll just do amount. So this could be 25 or whatever. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting the current amount of red and I'm making it however much darker or maybe lighter, I guess. Now I'm going to do this identical thing for green and blue. So I'm going to again do Control C for copy, hit enter, paste, hit enter, paste. Get green, get blue, and I'm going to add amount to each of them. Then I need to set those. So set red and Control C for copy. So I got the green amount, blah, 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 and then I set them down here. And now I'm going to loop through every pixel. I could have actually just put this down here directly, but I like it as is. Okay. Let me just hit run and see if it pops up any errors immediately. Which would not be shocking. Oh, good. Okay, that's great. So now I'm going to try to use fade image. And so I'm going to head back over to our narrative scenes, and I'm going to instantiate a new filtered image. What will my filter image have? It's instantiated with the file name. So right in my create scene, I'm going to say filter image. I'm just going to call it burger image, I guess, is equal to new filter image. And then the file name, the file name will be images index 0. I know that. Okay. And so this should actually edit that file, edit the pixels in this, and then I will show the image. I'm actually going to try showing this twice, so I'm just doing a Control C, Control V, and let's see if I broke everything. Okay, well that didn't appear to get darker. Filter image. Oh, I never ran it. Oh, that was great. That's great. Good. We're doing good here. I just called fade image. I recommend running your methods to, make them work. Novel idea. Let's do 150 so we can really tell. I think I'll need to pause it. I'm going to grab this pause each time. Pause it just for a second up here, though. Oh, and one more thing. Bloop. I'm still showing image 0. That's not what I want to do. I want to show my burger image, this version of it. Boom. Oh, that actually got a lot lighter. Okay, so apparently to make it darker, I'm going to go negative. Ooh, spooky. Okay, that looks awesome. So I'm going to hit stop here. And what I'm going to start doing is breaking these out into separate methods themselves. So create scene, and I'll have public void show burger, I guess. And then all I'm going to do in this is I'm going to grab all of this stuff. Yes. Cut. And move it up here. Okay. And I actually can do this up here. Filter image. Right there. Okay. Cool, and cool. So that will be my first one. I should throw in this sound at some point. Fade image. I might just do it. Yeah. Now I'll do it right after this. And that's just play sound. It should be. And then I just called it sounds and my burger sounds here. Okay. Cool. Now, let me get to my other method. And next up will be my pizza one. And for the pizza one, I just want everything to be more red. And so that one's actually somewhat easy, at least I find it so. I'm going to randomly make the pizza, each pixel of the pizza image more red. So I'm going to just do int red amount. And we haven't done random in a minute, so you might have to look it up in the documentation. It's under math. But I'm going to do int, because I need it to be an integer for the color. And then I am going to do math.random. And I'm going to multiply it by 255. And the reason I would multiply this by 255 is I need it to be, because the color options are 0 to 255. So that's what I'm going to do. I put this in, not sure I would need to, but I'm going to do it anyways because I want to make sure the whole thing is cast to an int. And now I'm going to do pixels row call dot set red amount. And so what should happen is each pixel will have a new red amount, and that red amount will be greater than what it used to be, right? So int red amount integer random math this. Well, it won't actually necessarily be greater, I shouldn't say that. But it's just going to be a new red value. So I'm messing with the red, and I'm randomizing how much red is in each pixel. That is actually what is occurring. If I wanted to make it darker red, I could just add this value to all the red. I'm going to leave it as is, though. I'm just randomizing how much red is in the image, which I think will be a cool effect for pizza. Okay, so now I'm going to head back over to narrative scenes, and I'm going to do, I should do right here to make sure all that goes, show burger. Cool. And let me make sure. Yep. Okay. And so I'm going to do something similar to this for pizza. All right. So honestly, guys, I pretty much just did the exact same thing, except instead of doing a burger, I created a pizza. I instantiated a pizza image filter image object. I drew it once. I then played my pizza sound 1. I then executed, or I called the red blur method. Let's see if I broke something. Oh, I misspelled JPEG, which is interesting because, well, oh well. My sounds are the best. I don't think you can hear them, but they're so good. And blue! Look, we had a blurry ready thing. Cool. That's looking really good. All right. Now, finally, for the last filter, and then we got a lot of sprucing up to do. All right. I need to do my create border. I really like this one. All right. So for this, we already have our loops in place. All I'm going to do to create my border is I am going to, in essence, black out the first, 10, 20, 30 pixels on the top and bottom of an image. So in order to do that, I'm going to need an if statement because I need to know if I'm at the top or bottom of an image. So if my column, I can do row first because sure. If row is less than 20 or row is greater than pixels.length minus 20. And so what I'm doing there, guys, is I'm saying, okay, if row is less than minus 20, that's the top 20 pixels of our image. Or if row is greater, so if row is greater than the entire length, or however many rows there are, pixels.length, however many rows there are minus 20, right? So that would be 20 from the bottom. If we're 20 from the bottom or 20 from the top, what do I want to do? And I'm going to want to black out the edge. So, well, not black out, but pixels, row call, set color, and then I need to pick a color. So there's two ways to do this with color. You can create a new color. Let me go docs. Or you can use something like color.aqua, color.teal. I'll show you both ways. I'll show you both ways. So I'm going to do this. Row. And then I just pass it red, green, blue. So I have no idea what color this is. Sure. All right. So that will be our row color. And so this is going to be the rows, row color. And now I'm going to do the same except for columns. So I'm going to do an else if. I'm actually going to copy this. Else if. Okay, but I need to change all of this out to column. And then instead of doing pixels dot length, because that's how many rows there are, I need to do pixel row dot length. Or pixels 0 dot length minus 20. I don't want to set it to row color. I'm actually going to do one of their cool things where you use, this is a enum, olive, sure. All right, let's see if I broke something here. Let me just see if it won't compile. Nope, it will. Cool. Okay, now let me head over to this, and I'm going to do show burrito. All right, let's give that a shot. See if I broke something here. Ooh. Okay, that one I like less. We need to stretch this one out. Oh, it's not. Ooh, I see what's happening. Okay. So let's actually go to our docs again. I'm doing Control F here. And we can do, I'm going to comment this out for testing. So what I'm actually going to do, what I just did here, guys, is I added width, height, and rotation to force it to be the size I want for the burrito since I'm adding a border to it. So in order to do this, though, I want to do it up here as well. And that should take care of it. Boom, border. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do now that I have all my filters working is we need some text, right? Oh, did I not add my burrito sound? No, I did because I'm awesome. We need some text. I need to make this actually a narrative, a scene. So I'm going to start throwing all of that in, and then I'll talk about it once it's there. All right, so let's start with burger. I put private here because it's just more clear. The burgers, guys, I just did a lot of changes. So I put in a for loop I decided, and I'm going to fade it over time. So I'll show it for just 0.4 seconds. I also want to add text. Okay, so I also added text, which you really need to have. Draw message, and this is the XY of it. I'm adding to message because I think it's fun. Exclamation points each time. So maybe I'll get rid of yum here. And let's see what I broke. Yes. I love this. Let me just make sure that looks a bit red to me. Ah, that would be why. Want to set the green to green. Cool. And I might actually make the text white for this one. I might make it for all though. So I'll leave that for now. Let me keep going. Okay, so for the pizza, I just moved sound up here. I'm drawing it still. My pizza is good. My pizza is better. And then what I wanted to notice, guys, by the way, I'm drawing the text beneath where I draw the image. If you draw the text on top of the image, you're not going to see it because, boom, boom, let's show you. My burger sounds awesome. Notice no text. Notice text, and that's because code runs in order. So doing it that way means I drew the text and slapped an image over it, goodbye text. So I want it down here. I red blur it, yep, that's all looking good. And then let me do burrito now. I'm actually gonna add parameters to create border so I can set the color. Whatever color that is will be my row color. And then I'll stick with olive, I guess. And boom, boom, boom. Let's see if that still works. Well, that color's hideous. So... And I want to add a bit more text after I reach all this. Yeah. All right. So the last thing I want to do is I want to switch up the text color actually. And I'm going to increase the height. And again, guys, you can find all of this under documentation. This is going to be under theater or scene. Scene for this. Okay. And then the last thing I really like doing is I like having a clear in between it. So I'm just going to do, I don't know, clear yellow. And for the pizza, red, of course. Boom. Okay. And I like it. Let me hit play. Oh no. All caps. Yeah. Yeah. It's pizza. The sound, it's so good. Okay, but all right. So students, keep in mind you want to organize. Notice show burrito, right? Show pizza. It makes it easier to grade and read. It makes it easier on you. The other thing is make sure you have messages, make sure there's a clear narrative throughout it, and don't forget the sounds. The constructor, it's really easy to do it this way. You can also not use an array and just do image 1, image 2. Yep, that looks great. And your filters, be creative, have fun with these. They're totally up to you, right? Do whatever you think is cool. But yeah, this is a big project. Show off a bit. At this point, I bet you can. I hope you have fun. And yeah, onward.